Welcome into the Inside Carolina basketball position previews. We're breaking down all the players from the 2021-22 season. I'm your host, Ross Martin, joined by Sherrell McMillan and Greg Barnes. They were talking about Leaky Black, a name we're all familiar with, a forward from Cox Mill, Concord, North Carolina, 6'8", 200 pounds. This is his senior season. And last season, Leaky Black played, I believe started in most of the 29 games he played in. He sat out a couple, but as a starter, but 27.6 minutes per game, 5.6 points, 4.9 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 1.2 steals, 36% from the field, and 22.2% from a three-point line. Sherrell, I think this is one of the most interesting guys because you have Puff coming in, his position. You have Justin McCoy coming in, that's playing his position. I think, Brady Manick and Dawson Garcia are more fours, but they have that kind of same skill set with a versatile shooter. And it'll be interesting to see how much Leaky plays. Now, he started 2 seasons, and he does a lot of things that Roy liked, but there's a new sheriff in town with Hubert Davis. Sherrell, your take on Leaky Black entering his 4th season at UNC?
It's weird because I think it's the same conversation we've had the last 3 years, is that there needs to be a conversation about what his role is. Role definition is hugely important to Leaky. Do you want him to be your secondary ball handler? Do you want him to be a wing who plays great defense and, can rebound from his position and push tempo? Do you want him to try to score some? Like that there needs to be a conversation before the season to say, what are the 3 things you really, really want me to do? And let me hone in on those and let those be my anchors so I can become really, really good at them. And I think that's been lacking the last few years, or at least from the outside looking in, it feels like it's been lacking. So to what we talked about earlier, though, there's only one ball. And there's a lot of guys on Carolina's team who are shooters, who are scorers. So you need someone who can play good defense, and you need someone who can push tempo and grab rebounds. So there's going to be a role for him. It's just a matter, is that role at 18 minutes or 16 minutes or 29 like it was last year? And I think that is what we'll be looking forward to finding out when the season starts.
Greg, I'm just going to go right to you for your take on Leaky Black this season.
Yeah, I think Sherrell's exactly right there. And I really think it's fascinating because if Roy Williams was still the head coach, there's no question that Leaky Black was going to start, right?
Yeah.
But Roy's gone. And so what does Hubert Davis value? And I think this is one thing that we'll see from game 1, kind of what means the most to Hubert Davis. Is it being a scorer? Or is it being a leader? Is it being a guy that can do a lot of different things? I think if Leaky had established himself as kind of you don't even have to say elite, but like a really good defender, more so than what he's become, I don't think there's any question he gets significant playing time. We know that he's savvy as a leader. Last year, people may not believe this, but Leaky was second on the team in plus minus. He was second in the ACC in assist turnover ratio in ACC play. And I really think, you kind of going back to Sherrell's conversation about his position, he seemed to really kind of get comfortable there at the 3 finally, and had some good games there late in the year. And so I think he showed improvement over the course of the season, finally. And he finally got healthy. I think that played a role too. But when you start talking about some of these other guys, like a Puff Johnson, I think offensively is miles better than what Leaky is. And then Justin McCoy, who I think is going to play a lot of minutes probably at the 3, is this defensive guy they brought in who's apparently impacted the rest of the team on that side of the ball. So how does Leaky kind of establish himself? Is it as the leader? Is it as the guy that does a little bit of everything? And watching how that plays out is going to be very interesting because he can serve as point guard. He can play at the 3. He can play at the 4 some if they need him to. But what does Hubert want him to do? And at this point in time, we just don't know.
Yeah, I got a lot of things on Leaky. I think it's just hard not to have someone who can shoot the ball with a 3. You need a shooter there, and that's been, I think, a main complaint with Leaky. We've been promised he was like last season, entering last season, he just said he'd really improved his shooting, he really improved his offense, and just wasn't there. I wrote a whole article about how this was a new Leaky that was going to come in. This was just based on what he told us, and it didn't really prove true. The thing about the defense stood out to me, Greg, as well. Roy always said he could be a really good, defender. It just never showed. I'm going to hit Sherrell with the question here. Do you think he starts, Sherrell?
Off guard.
Yeah.
I think based upon what Hubert Davis has emphasized publicly and privately over the last few months, I would say I don't see him in the starting lineup when the season starts. That doesn't mean he won't be in it by the end of the year, and it doesn't mean he's not going to play a lot. But what we've heard from Hubert Davis is spacing, moving the ball, shooting. And those aren't the strengths of Leaky right now.
And it's with a new head coach, you can kind of do whatever he wants and have to maintain what happened last year. Greg, what do you think? You think he starts?
You know, I have a feeling that he starts just because Hubert is so tied to North Carolina tradition. He's so tied to how Dean did things, so tied to how Roy did things. Leaky started 59 games as a Tar Heel. And I'm of the opinion that Leaky probably starts. And then if he doesn't hold that position and other guys start to push him, then he moves out of the starting lineup.
So I think it's easier to just dethrone him before the season starts.
I agree.
Having the emotional conversation of saying you're not a starter anymore.
I agree.
But that comes back, Ross, to role definition. There has to be a conversation about what do you want from me and what do you want me to do. And if those expectations are laid out clear in the preseason, then I don't think it'll be a huge issue, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't know. I haven't watched Justin McCoy play too much. So, I mean, I don't know if he is really a knockdown shooter either. I mean, there's a reason why he transferred and he didn't play a lot at Virginia. So who knows if he's going to be some massive upgrade over Leaky. And we do know that Leaky, he can be a valuable player for this team, like we talked about, as a defender, as a secondary ball handler, as a rebounder. He can guard, 4 positions. So there's definitely gonna be a spot where he can play 10 to 20 minutes a game. It'll be interesting to see really how much, though, with kind of the lack of shooting. I think after 3 seasons and how many games and minutes he played, the shooting is until proven differently. I don't think the shooting is going to change much. Anything else, guys, from you on Leaky? He deserved a little extended video there. All right, guys. Leaky Black entering his 4th season at UNC. He does have that extra season, so UNC fans could get 5 years of Leaky Black entering his senior season in the 2021-22 season.